The creation of GPS started in the mid-1960s when the United States Navy conducted satellite navigation experiments to track U.S. submarines carrying nuclear missiles. These ideas later improved in the early 1970s when the Department of Defense decided to use satellites to support the proposed navigation system. GPS, or the Global Positioning System, is a navigation system that has three elements: satellites circling the Earth that transmit signals to users on geographical position and time of day, ground control, which is made up of Earth-based monitoring stations that track and operate the satellites in space and monitoring transmissions, and lastly, a receiver and algorithms to synchronize location, velocity, and time data for air, sea, and land travel. GPS is a powerful and dependable tool for businesses and organizations in a variety of industries. Surveyors, scientists, pilots, boat captains, first responders, and even workers in mining and agriculture are some of the many people who use GPS regularly for work. They use GPS data for preparing accurate surveys and maps, taking precise time measurements, tracking position or location, and also for navigation. GPS operates at all times and in almost all weather conditions. The Global Positioning System has been an indispensable mechanism that has been foundational to countless innovations that control our modern life. It has revolutionized our society in a way that our environment is much safer and easier to live. GPS has greatly changed and drastically improved how the world works as it opened doors for the discovery of more technological inventions.
This is the one and only Thomas Edison, who invented the first practical, long-lasting electric light bulb in 1879. Lights in our homes work on electricity as well as other appliances. So electricity has two forms, which are static and dynamic electricity, but we will be focusing more on dynamic electricity. Dynamic electricity is moving electric charges. And there are two types of electric charges, where positive is denoted by the plus sign and the negative is denoted by the minus sign. Same like charges, well, what happens is that they repel each other, and unlike charges, attract each other. And what is being charged are called subatomic particles, where the positive charges are carried by the particles known as protons, while the negative ones are called electrons. And there are trillions of these that are present in any object there is. An example of this is a tube light, and it works because the negatively charged electrons are moving in the wire in one direction, and it is called electric current. These wires are made of copper and aluminum. So the reason why all of these charges are moving in one direction is because the energy is supplied to them by the transformer or the outlet where it produces energy, and these charges move in the wire, which makes our appliances work. So electricity is the flow of electrical power or charge. Electricity is both a basic part of nature and one of the most widely used forms of energy. Electricity is also known as a form of energy involving the flow of electrons. All matter is made up of atoms, which has a center called a nucleus. The nucleus contains positively charged particles called protons and uncharged particles called neutrons.
In our modern society, we have been relying on energy to help us in our daily lives. But as we all know, some sources of energy are finite and can be depleted over time. But since the invention of solar panels by Charles Fritz, energy conservation has been taken to the next level. It helped conserve energy by converting sunlight, an infinite source of energy, into electrical energy. When the sun shines onto a solar panel, energy from the sunlight is absorbed by the PV cells in the panel. This energy creates electrical charges that move in response to internal electrical field in the cell, causing electricity to flow. With this invention, air pollution was depleted. And if we continue to use solar panels, we can reduce the emission of greenhouse gases lessen the dependency rate of fossil fuels, reduce our households' carbon footprints, and reduce the usage of water. This is only one of the great modern inventions that were invented and gave a huge impact in our modern society today. We should look forward for more impactful and useful inventions in the future. Thank you.
Throughout the 19th century, inventors produced simple electric lights. For example, Joseph Swan produced a simple electric light, but he struggled to maintain a power source and the filament soon burned out when the vacuum was exhausted. It was Thomas Edison who made the light bulb into a practical low-current version. He used a filament based on a burned sewing thread. Although the patent described several ways of creating the carbon filament, including using cotton and linen thread, wood splints, papers coiled in various ways, it was not until several months after the patent was granted that Edison and his team discovered that a carbonized bamboo filament could last over 1200 hours. This discovery marked the beginning of commercially manufactured light bulbs, and in 1880, Thomas Edison's company, Edison Electric Light Company, began marketing its new product. Modern incandescent bulbs are not energy efficient. Less than 10% of electrical power supplied to the bulb is converted into visible light. The remaining energy is lost as heat. However, these inefficient light bulbs are still widely used today due to many advantages such as wide, low-cost availability, easy incorporation into electrical systems, adaptable for small systems, low voltage operation such as in battery-powered devices, wide shape and size availability.
Bluetooth technology allows devices to communicate with each other without cables or wires. The Internet of Things has shown us just how much is possible with a network of interconnected objects, and a natural predecessor to this technology was Bluetooth, which began to be integrated into mobile phones at the turn of the millennium. A classic example of an invention which makes life easier. Bluetooth offers a raft of hands-free benefits to its users. This technology was invented by Jaap Hartsen, a Dutch electrical engineer, researcher, inventor, and entrepreneur. Bluetooth relies on short-range frequency, and any device that incorporates the technology can communicate as long as it is within the required distance. It is electronic standard, which means that the manufacturers that want to include this feature have to incorporate specific requirements into their electronic devices. These specifications ensure that the devices can recognize and interact with other devices that use Bluetooth technology.
A smartphone can perform many of the functions of a computer, but are small enough to fit in the pocket of the user, typically having a touchscreen interface, internet access, an operating system capable of running downloaded applications, sending and receiving text, emails, photos, and multimedia messages are just the few things you may do with it. The first smartphone is invented by IBM in 1994 called the Simon Personal Communicator. It allows a call, email, fax, notes, calendar, and had a touchscreen. The Simon has many features that are still used in a modern smartphone. However, this phone was so advanced of its time, causing its production to drop immediately. The downfall of this device provides a major launchpad to the iPhone years later. There are over 3 billion smartphone users in the whole world. This causes a dramatic change in how the world works. Since almost half of the human population carries a smartphone in their pockets, this trend is only going to continue to pick up speed. Since nowadays, instead of buying a hard copy newspaper, we can now read a news through our smartphones, and a study shows that 86% of the adults read their news from a smartphone. We can also play any games downloaded from the Google Play Store or App Store on our phones, and we can also watch movies and TV shows. And all this digital shift involves in one common denominator, the smartphones.
Near Field Communication, or NFC, is a standard-based short-range wireless connectivity technology that makes life easier and more convenient for consumers around the world by making it simpler to make transactions, exchange digital content, and connect electronic devices with a touch. NFC is compatible with hundreds of millions of contactless cards and readers already deployed worldwide. It is an upgrade of the existing proximity card standard or the RFID that combines the interface of a smart card and a reader into a single device. It allows users to seamlessly share content between digital devices, pay bills wirelessly, or even use their cell phone as an electronic traveling ticket on existing contactless infrastructure already in use for public transportation. The significant advantage of NFC over Bluetooth is the shorter setup time. Instead of performing manual configurations to identify Bluetooth devices, the connection between two NFC devices is established at once, or under 1/10 of a second. Due to its shorter range, NFC provides a higher degree of security than Bluetooth and makes NFC suitable for crowded areas where correlating a signal with its transmitting physical device might otherwise prove impossible. NFC can also work when one of the devices is not powered by a battery. For example, on a phone that may be turned off or some credit cards and some other smart chips.
A computer is an electronic machine that processes information. In other words, an information processor. It takes in raw data or information, stores it until it's ready to use it, chews and crunches it for a while, and spits out the results at the other end. You may already know that you can use a computer to type documents, send email, play games, and browse the web. You can also use it to edit or create spreadsheets, presentations, and even videos. The purpose of the computer is to perform calculations, store information, retrieve data, and process information. Computers become very important nowadays because it is very much accurate, fast, and can accomplish many tasks easily. It is essential for preparing school and college projects. Otherwise, to complete those tasks manually, much more time is required. It can do very big calculations in just fractions of a second. Moreover, it can store a huge amount of data in it. It helps to connect social media, and it is used for many entertainment activities. Computers help us take a larger step into the future. Businesses and entertainment use them to make profits. Education uses them to help educate students better. And in the medical field, they use computers in different ways. Even you are playing computer games, or watching your latest movies, or researching on a topic for your essay, you are using a computer. Computers absolutely and completely changed the world, and it keeps changing. Everyone was impacted by the remarkable device. You might disagree with me a little bit, but one thing is for sure. Without computers, we are not anywhere close to where we are today.
You've probably cut your finger at some point in your life. Painful, sure, but no big deal. Well, imagine if that minor cut became so infected with bacteria that it killed you. Before the 1940s, that really did happen a lot. Most minor injuries could be deadly. And then, a discovery was made that changed the world: penicillin. Penicillin heralded the dawn of antibiotic age. Before its introduction, there was no effective treatment for infections such as pneumonia, gonorrhea, and rheumatic fever. Hospitals were full of people with blood poisoning contracted from a cut or a scratch, and doctors could do little for them but wait and hope. In 1928, Scottish scientist Alexander Fleming went on a vacation without cleaning up his lab. When he returns, he finds a colony of mold growing on a petri dish he'd forgotten to place in his incubator. To his surprise, the mold had eliminated the bacteria in that area. Penicillin destroys many types of bacteria by disrupting synthesis of their cell walls. It then stimulates the release of highly reactive molecules that cause additional damage. Eventually, the cell's structure breaks down completely. Hailed as a miracle drug that saved countless lives during World War II, penicillin allowed the Allies to patch up a soldier and have him ready to fight again in a matter of weeks. Its discovery sparkled the hunt for other antibiotics that are used today in everything from vaccine to cancer drugs. While the widespread use of penicillin has been a huge benefit to people across the globe, it might not be effective forever. Some bacteria have become resistant to commonly used antibiotics, and the overuse and misuse of antibiotics is leading to more bacteria developing the ability to defeat the drugs that are designed to kill them. Inventions such as GPS, smartphones, electricity, computer, penicillin, and many more have provided significant benefits to the society. Inventions help people around the world live longer, more productive and healthier, and provide new ways to build, move, communicate, heal, learn, and play. So that wraps up our presentation on the inventions of the modern period. Thank you very much for watching.